Hi, my name is Dr. Frank A. Thomas, and I am here with another installment of Living Your Passion. I want you to know today I'm going to talk about how to move from a victim to a victor. From a victim to a victor. In our last session, we did some thinking about victim thinking and its devastating effects upon our lives. I want to share something with you today. You remember the text in Matthew where Jesus talks about that if someone takes your cloak, offer them your outer cloak as well. Or remember, if a Roman soldier makes you carry the luggage 1 mile, carry it 2 miles. You remember that text that Jesus says? This is the famous turn the other cheek, and if somebody hits you on one side, give them the other cheek. And a lot of us find that text offensive because we interpret it to be weaklingness or weakness. And so we're not supposed to oppose evil because Jesus says turn the other cheek. Well, that's not the interpretation of the text. What Jesus' point in this text is that generosity takes you out of the victim position. And that in the face of somebody who wants to assault you, I know this is difficult, so let me try to make it just as clear and as plain as possible. The spiritual seed here is that generosity takes you out of the victim position. So if a Roman soldier, the text says, if a Roman soldier, by law, any Roman soldier could make somebody carry their luggage for 1 mile. Jesus says, carry the luggage for 2 miles. Now, what he means is that the tendency is to think that you're a victim. The tendency is to think that you have to, and you're being forced to, and you're angry, and you're bitter, and all of that negative emotion. Jesus says, be generous, carry the thing 2 miles, because generosity puts you in the position of deciding how much you're going to do versus being forced to do. You decide to carry it 2 miles. It releases positive emotion in your life. Jesus, of course, was not a victim. You would think that the crucifixion would make him the biggest victim there ever was. He had trumped up charges in kangaroo court. He was whipped and made fun of and beaten. You would think that he was a victim. He was crucified. That looks like a victim if there ever was a victim. But then he says this. He says, nobody takes my life. I lay it down and I pick it up when I get ready. I choose to go to Calvary. I choose. This is my choice. Before the foundation of the world, I chose to give my life as a ransom. In other words, I'm not a victim. Calvary, I'm not a victim at Calvary. There's no situation and circumstance. I am a victim. I am a victor because it's my generosity and my love that brings me to Calvary and the redemption of humankind. I believe that we can operate in this very similar principle. Be generous. Be generous. Choose to be generous. Now, this doesn't mean that, to absolutely let people take advantage of you. That's not what I'm suggesting. So, let's say you got a brother-in-law that has bad credit and he wants you to come and co-sign for his car that he can't afford to pay for. And you say yes because the pastor said, Jesus said, be generous. That's not what I'm talking about. No. If he can't pay for the car, no. Choose to say no. But this bigger spiritual principle is you're not a victim. This principle is that you can choose to be generous. And if you choose to be generous, then don't look for anything else other than to pay for the car. This thing, you make somebody a loan, and if you're looking for them to pay it back, then don't make them the loan. Be in a position of generosity. It takes you out of being a victim. Thank you for listening to this spiritual vitamin. I hope it blesses your life. I want you to know that every Monday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, I do a Periscope broadcast on preaching. I do a teaching. I give a spiritual vitamin on preaching. Every Friday, we release Living Your Passion, another version of this. Every Monday, we release a teaching different than the Periscope teaching on preaching. And once a week on SoundCloud, we also upload a powerful message. You'll want to get to SoundCloud. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your participation. You do have the power to choose. You don't have to be a victim. You have the power to choose to express positive values in your life. God bless you And I love you, and I'll see you next week.